78% nitrogen. Nitrogen gas makes up 78% of our atmosphere, but is inaccessible to most plants directly. Through a process called nitrogen fixation, certain bacteria in the soil convert this gas into ammonia. The plants take up this ammonia and other forms like nitrate, using it to produce proteins, nucleic acids, and other essential molecules. When plants die and decay, decomposers return nitrogen in its various forms back to the soil, from where it can be used again by plants or released back into the atmosphere. Sulfur exists in the atmosphere as gases or aerosols. It falls to the earth via rain, becoming part of the soil and water system. Then plants absorb sulfate ions. So they absorb from the soil and incorporate sulfur into essential amino acids and vitamins. Upon decay, plants release sulfur back into the environment, and it eventually finds its way back to the atmosphere, completing the cycle. Now, in a balanced ecosystem, plants play a pivotal role, acting as reservoirs that ensures the continuous cycling of this vital nutrient. The human activities are tipping the scales, altering the balance that nature painstakingly maintained. The effects are evident as the cycles of life are disturbed and disrupted. Now, humans are the new disruptors of flora and biogeochemical cycle.
Anthropogenic effects refer to the impact of human activities on natural processes and ecosystems. Human activities have significantly altered these biogeochemical cycles, leading to environmental issues such as air and water pollution, climate change, and biodiversity loss. Human activities have had a pronounced influence on both the nitrogen and sulfur cycles. Nitrogen cycle is a crucial biogeochemical process that describes the movement of nitrogen through various forms in the environment. Nitrogen is an essential element for living organisms as it is a major component of proteins, DNA, and other biomolecules. However, the majority of nitrogen in the Earth's atmosphere exists as nitrogen gas, which is relatively inert and cannot be directly used by most living organisms. Nitrogen fixation. Humans have greatly increased nitrogen fixation, the process by which atmospheric nitrogen is converted into reactive forms. The Haber-Bosch process, which produces synthetic fertilizers, has played a crucial role in this. As a result, agricultural productivity has increased, but excessive use of fertilizers has led to nitrogen runoff and pollution of water bodies, causing eutrophication. Land use changes. Deforestation, urbanization, and other land use changes have disrupted natural nitrogen cycling. Conversion of forests to croplands in urban areas can lead to nitrogen loss from the soil, reducing ecosystem resilience. The sulfur cycle involves the movement of sulfur through the atmosphere, lithosphere, and hydrosphere. Anthropogenic activities have significantly affected the sulfur cycles in the following area. Sulfur dioxide emissions. Combustion of fossil fuels, particularly coal and oil, releases sulfur dioxide, SO2, into the atmosphere. SO2 is a major precursor to acid rain, which can harm aquatic ecosystem, forests, and soil quality. Sulfur-based fertilizers. The use of sulfur-containing fertilizers in agriculture can lead to the release of sulfur compounds into the environment, affecting local ecosystems and contributing to air and water pollution. Industrial processes. Various industrial activities such as melting of metals also release sulfur dioxide and other sulfur-containing compounds into the air. Overall, the anthropogenic impact on the nitrogen and sulfur cycles has far reaching consequences on the environment, affecting air and water quality, biodiversity, and climate patterns.
Having understood these anthropogenic effects on the nitrogen and sulfur cycles, one must wonder what happens if we allow these detrimental activities to persist. Well, Le Chatelier's principles states that if a dynamic equilibrium is disturbed by changing the conditions, the position of equilibrium shifts to counteract the change to re-establish an equilibrium. In layman's terms, if you mess with Mother Nature fights back. Let's put it into perspective. Let's say 50 years from now, nothing has changed, and we continue to do the exact same things that we do today. In agriculture, if practices haven't changed by then, we could expect a massive problem when it comes to nitrogen runoff. And as nature would have it, it would try to restore balance within these bodies of water by sucking up all the nitrogen and growing algae and aquatic plants. Problem solved, right? Well, not really. The problem with algae and aquatic plants is that when they die and decompose eventually, they suck up a good amount of oxygen from the water. And where there is no oxygen, there is no marine life. Furthermore, if put as a global phenomenon, ocean death would occur. This process was brought up with the help of Le Chatelier's principle and is called eutrophication. Looking at the side of the sulfur cycle, assuming we've been burning fossil fuels for the entire 50 years, we'd be met by acid rain. By burning fossil fuels, we're releasing sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. This then reacts with nitrogen oxides in the atmosphere, with water, with oxygen, and with other chemicals to form sulfuric and nitric acid, which fall to the ground as acid rain. This acid rain is detrimental as it causes buildings to corrode, forests to be destroyed, and aquatic life to be harmed.
Let's address the anthropogenic effects on the nitrogen and sulfur cycles. The anthropogenic effects on the nitrogen and sulfur cycles are a serious problem that needs to be addressed. These effects are caused by human activities such as the use of synthetic fertilizers, the burning of fossil fuels, and industrial processes. These activities release nitrogen and sulfur into the environment, which can have a number of harmful effects, including eutrophication, acid rain, and climate change. There are a number of solutions that can be implemented to help mitigate these effects and protect our environment. For the nitrogen cycle, we can reduce the use of synthetic fertilizers, improve agricultural practices, and protect wetlands. Synthetic fertilizers are a major source of nitrogen pollution, and by reducing their use, we can help to reduce the amount of nitrogen that enters our waterways and contributes to eutrophication. We can also improve agricultural practices by using cover cropping, crop rotation, and no-till farming. These practices help to reduce nitrogen runoff and improve soil health. Wetlands are important natural filters that help to remove nitrogen from our waterways. By protecting wetlands, we can help to reduce the amount of nitrogen that reaches our oceans. For the sulfur cycle, we can reduce sulfur dioxide emissions from fossil fuel combustion, use cleaner fuels, and improve industrial processes. Sulfur dioxide emissions from fossil fuel combustion are a major source of acid rain. By reducing these emissions, we can help to protect our forests, lakes, and rivers from the harmful effects of acid rain. We can also use cleaner fuels, such as natural gas and renewable energy sources, which produce fewer sulfur dioxide emissions. Finally, we can improve industrial processes to reduce the amount of sulfur dioxide that is released into the environment. In addition to these solutions, there are a number of other things that can be done to help protect our environment. These include conserving water, recycling and composting, and supporting sustainable businesses. Water is a precious resource that we need to conserve. By conserving water, we can help to reduce the amount of pollution that enters our waterways. Recycling and composting help to reduce the amount of waste that ends up in landfills. This, in turn, helps to reduce the amount of pollution that is released into the environment. Finally, we can support sustainable businesses that are committed to reducing their environmental impact. By taking action on these issues, we can help to create a cleaner, healthier planet for future generations.